Hey guys, hello Knifeland. How are you guys out there today? My name is Joe Culpepper, and today we're going to talk about knives just a little bit. I promise you I won't make you look at my mug shot for this whole video. It's not going to be that long of a video anyway. I've actually been meaning to do this video for a little while. These are some questions and concerns that we get asked all the time here at Old School Knife Works regarding what to buy, what to collect, questions of that nature. I've got a disclaimer first and foremost that I'll say. As a matter of fact, I am going to flip this camera here just a little bit so you don't have to look at my mug all day long. Let's see here. That's a picture of me. I posted this a while back. That's a picture of me in 1981. I won the Chattahoochee Award for Best Junior Collection. I was 9 years old, soon to be 10 in that picture. Long story short, though, I didn't want to let you look at my mugshot all day, but here is what we're going to talk about today, guys. These are Joe Culpepper's rules for buying knives, collecting knives, if you will. Full disclaimer, knives have been my entire life, my whole life. This is all that I've ever done. I grew up in the knife industry, and having grown up in the knife business, and in all my subsequent years in this industry, I get asked all the time from knife buyers, and the store gets asked, the people here at Old School Knife Works that answer the phone, they get asked all the time as well. By the way, shameless plug here, guys, we have a great staff here. My wife and I, Christy, we run this operation. We've got a fantastic staff here, though. So if you ever get a chance to talk to any of them, be sure to tell them thank you for being a good staff from me. I probably don't tell them enough. But anyway, the questions we get asked all the time in and around the store, online, what should I be buying? What types of knives should I be collecting? And the all-important one, will these knives appreciate? And all of those seem like simple questions, but they're actually a little bit more complicated, I think. But I'll start by saying this. This is my list. These are my opinions. Your opinion probably can, will, and may vary. This doesn't make me an expert, but I'm going to speak from my 40 plus years of experience here. So, rule number one, take my other mug shot down here. Rule number one, guys, and this is a hard and fast rule, and I believe this is rule number one. Buy and collect what you like. That should be rule number one in anybody's collection. This is the kind of knives that I like, guys. This is a custom. This is a Richard Rogers custom. That's black mother of pearl. I actually cut this black mother of pearl many, many years ago for Richard. Richard's a fantastic knife maker. I think he's still in New Mexico. That's a Richard Rogers custom. Anyway, that's what I like. But anyway, buy and collect what you like. So if you're buying knives to keep, you will never go wrong if and when the market goes south for that particular piece of cutlery. We see entirely too many people who purchase on speculation, only to decide to sell without allowing proper time for the collector market to develop. Folks, listen here now. This is important. The collector demand for many knives doesn't even begin sometimes for a decade or more. So buy what you like and enjoy what you buy. That's why we're in this hobby. That's why we love it. If you're buying to flip knives, that's a little bit different story. We'll talk about that a little bit later. If you're buying to flip knives, you can follow the trends and the hot list, but know that you're probably eventually going to get stuck with some of those purchases, i.e., you get upside down in them, just like you get upside down in a car payment. Rule number two. Are you a collector or are you a trader? Or collector versus trader, if you will. This could technically be rule number one, but it's every bit as important. Are you buying to keep and collect, or are you buying on speculation? It's great when you can check, both of those boxes, if you will, at the same time, but that's not always the case. If you're buying to collect, you should probably limit your purchases to knives that you truly like. If you're buying to trade or to sell later, you need to be pretty savvy and have enough knowledge about the market, especially the current market and the futures market, to understand value versus demand, both current and future. If you want to be a trader, you might want to be heavily involved and knowledgeable about what is happening daily, in the market, if you will. All right? Rule number 3. I'm going to try to keep this pretty short, guys. Rule number 3, be selective about who you purchase from. If you purchase from someone who, frankly, doesn't know what they're selling, and we're talking about the basic question here was, what should I be buying? What should I be collecting? So we're assuming, or at least for this video's purposes, that we're talking about people that are not experts in the industry and haven't been collecting for a long time. We're talking a little bit more on the novice or beginning collector, or newer collector, if you will. That doesn't mean this can't be knowledgeable for everyone, but some of you know some of these things already. But long story short, be selective about who you buy from. So if you purchase from someone who doesn't know what they're selling, it's very difficult to know what you're buying, especially if you don't have years of experience. We just talked about that. Yeah, you might be able to find a deal out there, a flea market deal or some kind of deal, when you have knowledge and the seller doesn't. But chances are, in most circumstances, it's the other way around, especially if you're a novice or a newbie. Reputable sellers aren't looking for a big profit win on one particular item or one particular piece of cutlery. They'd much rather have a smaller or more competitive markup on a quality piece and thereby earn your future business and continually earn that same smaller profit on multiple future purchases. We call this a one-timer syndrome. That's what I call it, at least. I also call it establishing a relationship. And that's pretty impossible to achieve if the seller doesn't know what they're talking about, or they're ignorant to the facts, or are not informed about this brand or that brand. Rule number 4, look for a fair return policy. And this is really important, especially if you are a newer collector. And that's really who this video is for. Don't buy from businesses or individuals that don't accept returns. It's especially true when purchasing vintage knives. What you're looking for is honesty and accurate information from a seller. It doesn't matter who the seller is. It can be a big company. It can be a small company. It can be a guy that runs out of his garage. It could be whatever it is. You're looking for honesty and accurate information from a seller. Sellers make mistakes. They do. It happens, especially on older vintage things where there's not a lot of information out there. But good sellers always stand behind their merchandise and will accept your returns. I'll give you a small example. It's not a plug for us. But for example, our rule here is 14 days. You have a 14-day return policy. No questions asked. If you aren't happy, you can return anything in that time. We do charge you for the shipping. No questions asked. However, if we made a mistake in our representation, we refund the whole thing. But look for similar or fair business practices out there in the marketplace, whether it's eBay, the flea market, the biggest knife store in the country, whoever it is, guys, make sure you take care of that. Make sure you've got a good system in place to ensure that you don't get turned off by some bad business practices. All right, next examples. Guys, now rule number 5, don't necessarily follow short-term trends. And I'm not picking on this knife up here, so don't get me wrong. Look, I get it. We all live in a fast-paced, instant gratification world that only gets faster with a social media frenzy, if you will, online. These are knives that I call eye candy, and they are often a very strong temptation when this latest, hot item, quote unquote hot item, hits the market. I generally recommend avoiding the knives that fall into this category, especially, and this is pretty important, when said eye candy can continue to be manufactured perpetually. I'll give you a couple examples in a minute. I'll give a quick example here, and I'm trying not to offend anyone here, but let's just say we've got a manufacturer out there, and the manufacturer's name is A1 Knife Company. And they make good stuff. A1 Knife Company. They come out with a brand new color. Let's call that new color, I don't know, burnt tangerine marmalade pie. Okay, let's call it that. All right. Everyone is excited about this knife. It's blowing up online. eBay's got it. People on Facebook are selling it. Instagram's blowing up with it. Yada yada yada. Let's say the dealer MAP price, and MAP means minimum advertised price. It's a minimum advertised price the dealer's allowed to sell that knife at. Let's just call it a $100 bill to give a nice round number. But these knives are blowing up online, let's say. That's this knife right here, the orange marmalade, whatever I said it was, tangerine marmalade pie, if you will. Let's say that thing is blowing up. Dealer MAP's $100. Can't find one at that because they've all been bought up. So they're basically selling in the aftermarket at $200 plus. Okay. Now, as the collector, you can buy this eye candy. Okay, burnt tangerine marmalade pie. I think that's what I said it was. You can buy that, and that's great. And if you love it, that's wonderful. Again, you're buying what you like. That's back to rule number one. But keep in mind, this is current production from a current manufacturer who certainly has the option to produce more burnt tangerine marmalade pie knives. In fact, this manufacturer will likely continue to make burnt tangerine marmalade pie knives until they can squeeze the last buyer from the market, or until it is no longer profitable for A1 manufacturer, knife company, whatever the name was. If you remember what the dealer map was, the dealer map was $100. But because they are trying to squeeze that bit of juice, suddenly dealer map is now $80. Well, where does that leave the buyer or the potential collector that bought that knife at $200 plus? Well, I'll tell you where it leaves them. It leaves them upside down. The inverse of this is that the collector would have been much better served by purchasing a good, high-quality vintage knife, maybe even like some of the knives that are pictured right here. Or maybe you're better off purchasing. I brought a couple of knives to show you. That's an electric company. That's circa 1910. I think you'd been better off spending your $200 on that because the market has shown for the last, 100 years that this knife goes up in value. We don't know what orange or burnt tangerine marmalade pie is going to do in the future. We don't know. It may go up too, but we don't know that. All right. But they're not making any more of these. All right. So that's pretty important to learn. Now, perhaps they could have bought a bone one like this or a stag one or a pearl knife from a manufacturer that may no longer exist, or a handle material or color or configuration that may no longer exist or may no longer have the potential to be manufactured. I think that's really important. Now let's go to rule number 6. And I did bring a couple visual aids. By the way, that's it's a pretty little etched Cattaraugus in pyramite. Pretty much a mint knife, circa about 1930s there. Rule number 6, there is no substitute for quality or rarity. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory, and if you know anything about marketing or real estate or anything of that nature, you already know this. But here's the lesson. Scarcity drives the market in every facet of collectibles. You can have 2 very good etched stag muskrats, if you will. And let's say that you paid $700 for the pair of them. Or you can have one pristine one for that same $700. The pair and the singles will both go up in value with time. Which one are you taking? Just think about that for a minute. Which one are you going to take it? History would suggest that 20 years down the road, and let's face facts, this is what we're looking for, you'd rather own the latter. The lesson here is to buy the best knife you can possibly buy or afford. Then trade up if and when you find a better one. Your very good muskrat of the 2 will be an upgrade to someone else's collection as well. Rule number 7. Again, I brought a visual aid because I like to be prepared. Rule number 7, storage, upkeep, and maintenance is important. Guys, I'm not going to go into a whole rant here about how to upkeep your knives. I will say this. I'm partial to 3-in-1. I'm old-fashioned. You can use 100 other different products. Way too many to list here. Message me if you want to know other products. But again, it's pretty simple. Store your knives in a dry, climate-controlled environment. Clean them once a year. Use 3-in-1 oil or your product of choice. There are too many methods to list here, though. Oil the joints once a year. Store them in the closed position, if you will. Guys, don't store them in that position right there. That is the show position. That's fine if you want to show the knife for just a little while, but don't store them in that position. Store them closed, like that, or store them open. One or the other. It's a lot less wear on the springs. Show positions how most knives are photographed. It's not good for the long haul. All right. If you store enough of them in the open position like that, you will learn the hard way, I assure you. You will learn the hard way. That's how back springs and rivet cracks and all that stuff gets formed. Rule number 7, materials used in manufacture. You know what, guys? Actually, I've got I got 11 rules here, apparently. I've got 2 7s. Materials used in manufacture. So here we go. Mother of pearl. Okay, we know that one. Here we go. We got some beautiful red bone there. We know that one. We got some stag. We know that one too. All right, so there's all 3 of those. In all my years in the cutlery world, I've read about everything I could get my hands on. Tremendous amounts of literature, articles, books, catalogs, everything else cutlery related. I would love to tell you that I've retained it all. That would be a lie. I have not retained it all. I hope I've retained some of it. But in all that reading material, I usually find that handle materials, despite being discussed often, I still think they're a little bit overlooked and frankly, a little bit underestimated. And I'm going to tell you why. And we're talking about collecting again here. Now, I'll admit that I'm partial since a lot of my cutlery background centers around handle materials. That's one of our companies. However, the reality is many handle materials of the natural variety, if you will. I'm talking about natural that occur in nature, not plastics. Are becoming very rare, guys. All these materials are becoming extremely rare, especially the natural variety. And if not already on their way to extinction. I mean, you have tortoise and ivory are already gone. Mother of pearl is about to be gone. Stag is about to be gone. Bone's still hanging in there. But a lot of these materials are, they're a thing of the past now. And of course, that makes them a lot more collectible. So I always recommend that people have some of these knives in their collection with rare handle materials on them that aren't going to be seen any longer. And attack them now before the market gets hot, guys. The market at some point for pearl and stag will be smoking. If it's not already, it will be down the road. So I think that's you should always have that in your collection. I got my notes here. I preached this for many years. I'll say it again. I have preached this for many years. If you've ever spent time around me, you've heard me preach this. And I don't mean to preach, but it's just the facts. You're not going to see mother pearl, stag, black pearl, giraffe bone, abalone. There's lots of others that you will not see anymore. One of the synthetics you're never going to see again is Westinghouse micarta. You're not going to see that anymore either. Now, you'll notice I left off blade composition. There's too many. That's a whole other video, guys, about blade steels, carbon versus stainless, and then all the varieties of stainless and super steels. That's probably a whole nother video, too large of a subject to talk about. And that's more of a knife usage video as opposed to a knife collecting video, if you will. There are other materials out there, but I've got some knowledge about this. I'm going to speak about those a little bit. I'll try to keep my focus there. Again, 40 years that I've been doing this, and those are my thoughts on that. I think a lot of those rare handle materials, guys, you need to be looking at those into your collection. Whether you buy it from me or not, doesn't matter. Let's see here. Rule number 8, or as it were, it's actually rule number 9 now. I'll pull these down. I'll show you something different. Guys, rule number 9, collect from former manufacturing hotbeds. That's collect from former areas that people that were very popular for making knives. Here's a good example right here, guys. Sheffield, England. I don't know if you guys can see that very good. Sheffield, England. Always a hotbed. There's nothing being produced in Sheffield anymore, guys. Solingen, Germany. Guess what? Very little knives being produced there anymore. You want to get a little bit more, I guess I should put this in a different order. I should have said the northeastern United States. That's an empire there. Northeastern United States. Sheffield, northeastern United States. Germany. And then, of course, my fourth one now is become Siki City. Siki City, Japan. Not really making a whole lot of knives. There's still some manufacturing going on there, but it's very, very limited. They're actually behind Germany just a little bit. But that industry in Germany is going to die too, guys. It's almost gone It's gone completely in Sheffield. It's nearly gone in the U.S. North. The Northeast. It's nearly gone in Germany, and it's nearly gone in Siki City now. Guys, those are all hotbeds for cutlery, and I recommend that people put them in their collections, assuming number 1 and number 2. Remember, rule number 1 was buy what you like, unless you're a flipper. If you're a flipper, it's a different story. But if you're a collector, guys, buy what you like. First and foremost, buy what you like, and then buy knives from hotbeds. That's rule number 9. Buy knives that are made in former hotbeds for cutlery manufacturing. Rule number 10. This is really important, guys. Don't get discouraged. If you buy knives for long enough, you will almost certainly come out on the wrong end of a deal. A misrepresented deal, a counterfeit. There's 100 different things, a hidden crack that you didn't see, et cetera, et cetera. This is not the end of the world, guys. It is not. Regroup, avoid the same mistake a second time, avoid that vendor again, or see if you can settle it with them. The knife community has some bad apples. We've got some scavengers. We got some con artists. We got some counterfeiters. We got some scammers. And we have every other undesirable in this industry. But guys, I'm going to tell you something. We probably have a whole lot less than every other industry. So there's a lot of good people in the cutlery business. And again, that's 40 years experience talking, guys. A lot of good people in this business. I personally found it to include some of the very best people that I've ever encountered in my life. And I'll add that the knife community industry would rate out so much better than so many other industries. So don't get down if you have a bad experience or two. Get back in the saddle horn. I know that's a terrible joke, but it was what I wrote in my notes. So there it is. Rule number 11. That's the last one, guys. And then we're almost done. All right. Do your research. Look here. I got it written on my piece of paper. Do your research. You will inevitably find yourself attracted to certain types of cutlery and maybe certain brands even. I would invite you not to put too many limitations on your collection, especially initially. I see too many people limit themselves to one particular brand. I use Case as an example here because it's the most collected knife in the world, et cetera, et cetera. But I see too many people limit themselves exclusively to Case. Guys, there's an entire world of knives out there. I try to educate people every day about the custom knife world. It is absolutely incredible and amazing. Guys, don't limit yourselves to just one brand out there. I'm telling you, there's a whole world out there that is really, really wonderful to explore. Again, keep rules number 1 and 2 in mind, guys. Rule number 1, always, if you're collecting, always buy what you like. Then you never have to worry. You never have to worry about buying a knife that you thought was going to appreciate that you hate and never appreciates. And you resent that knife the rest of your life. Here's some other recommendation. Read whatever you can get your hands on, guys. Especially when it's your particular interest. Talk to others who have similar taste. Attend a knife show at least once. Visit knife stores in your area where you happen to be traveling. That is really, really a good thing, good way to learn things, guys. And if you love knives for the same reasons that I do, you're here for the same reasons that I'm in love with. I'm just trying to give you a little helping hand. I am not the end all be all. I hope this helps you. If you're new to the hobby, hopefully it added some more information to your resume, if you will. Again, this is my list. It isn't hard or it isn't fast. Just my thoughts on the subject. Guys, leave me a comment. If you like this video, leave me a comment if you hated the video. Leave me a comment if you think I left something off. I'm sure that I did. If you want to know more about me, my companies, or my background, you can check out my company, knifehandles.com, oldschoolknifeworks.com. If you're selling your knives, sellyourknives.com. Or check the links attached to this, guys. You can also catch our live sale on Facebook most Mondays and Thursday nights at Joe Culpepper OSKW. You can find us on Instagram. I don't even know what that account is, but guys, it's on this video. It's on the link here on the page. Guys, if I can help you with anything, you want to learn anything about collecting, guys, feel free to give us a shout. Again, this is my list. You can come up with your own. Guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys being here. Take care. God bless.